Good morning, everybody. It is great to see you guys. We're not gonna walk out in traffic. We are in the Big Easy today, New Orleans. We're excited about it. It's very nice weather down here. And we're staying outside of the city a little ways, but we wanted to stop in and experience what this city has to offer, which is a lot. So we are going to kind of take a little tour today, just see a few things, and yeah, enjoy the sights. We have made it to the mighty Mississippi, and sure is muddy, just as they say. This is the New Orleans Holocaust Memorial. We're going to be mostly sticking to the French Quarter today. It's a big city, but French Quarter is always really cool. Monument to the Immigrant. That is very interesting.
Steps.
Wow. So we just picked up a muffaletta, I believe was what it's called, from the Central Grocer. Ah, Cafe du Monde. Duly noted. No dogs allowed in Jackson Square. I'm sorry, Daisy. That's no fun, is it? So what's very interesting about Andrew Jackson and his connections to here is that's actually where the last battle of, I believe it was the War of 1812, was fought, which was right down alongside the Mississippi River, not far from where we're standing here. There's a really cool little battlefield, and the war had actually ended, but word had not reached General Jackson at the time, so engaged in battle. And I believe it was the last battle of the War 1812. So really, really interesting. And of course, Jackson and his troops won that battle. So there is a lot of revere in this town for Andrew Jackson. So we made it back to the truck. We're gonna have a little bit of lunch, and then Lisa has a business call. I'm gonna take Gigi and just kind of walk around a little bit and see what kind of trouble we can get into. But look at this delicious looking, what was it again, a muffaletto? Muffaletta. Very interesting. Olive spread, some salami, ham. All right. That wall right there, that is part of the city's flood protection program. Essentially, any openings, like right there, can simply be shut, and it provides immediate and probably minor protection from flood waters, but nonetheless, any little bit helps whenever you're below sea level. This is cool. So this is Canal Street down through here, and oftentimes the last time I was down here, it was only a few years after Katrina had come through, and a lot of these areas were just underwater at the time, and it was a tragedy for sure. So I think about that when I'm in towns like this where some sort of disasters happened, and try to put myself in other people's shoes who experienced that. I think somebody's a little tired. So we get to see a little bit of the French Quarter. It's the place is awesome. It's really great, but you know, like a lot of southern cities, there are a lot of homeless, and they aren't shy about asking for money, whatever way that may be. But all in all, it was a really cool place. All right, so like I said, very interesting history here. This is where the last battle of the War of 1812 was fought with General Jackson. And the war had actually been, I don't want to say it was over. There was a treaty that was signed in 1814 to end the war. However, that didn't mean that the war was over, because word hadn't reached everybody. And so there was still fighting going on. And I'm standing where the British were, and literally 200 yards that way, that's it. 200 yards that way is where the American line was, right in front of that tree line. And it was a very, very tight battlefield. Interlaced in some of these older graves are some of these newer graves too. You can tell by how old these headstones look, and there are people that still have places reserved here that are still being buried here. But I believe that all of the plots here have been purchased over the years, so there's really the cemetery is closed. But fascinating for sure. Wow. This is so small that you can drive around here and get the basic understanding of what happened here in about a half an hour or so. You could probably even go faster if you wanted to, but why? Whenever we're talking about American history, it's always great to take the time to understand how battles affected our history and what the implications of those wins or losses were. So I thank you guys for joining us, as always. It's a pleasure to have you here. I'm glad you tuned in for a little while for this adventure. Make sure to check out our blog. I'm going to link that in the description below. And we'll see you guys on the next adventure.